Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cosmic Owl Astrology with Louise Edington, the Cosmic Owl and Wisdom Weaver, who weaves together the patterns of the cosmos and the tarot and numerology and more, and a healthy dose of intuition. Excuse me. So, happy Equinox. I'm here today to talk about the equinox, which is the astrological new year. It's the equinox means equal day and equal night, and so it's the same in both hemispheres. But of course, in the southern hemisphere, the zero Aries point is taking you into the days getting shorter and winter approaching. And here in the northern hemisphere, it's really kind of the beginning of spring in many ways. So you wouldn't know it here, though. We've had more snow in the last week than we've had all winter at the elevation I'm at, but it's going. Anyway, do you like my background? I'm all Venus-y at the moment because of doing my Venus class. It's amazing, by the way, and I will be sending out the link for the wait list for the 2026 Venus class because, as somebody said, she said, I'm totally in love with the content of the Venus retrograde workshop. You're the only one who could deliver it. It's obviously your passion, your calling, and this workshop is a boon to humankind. I will take this workshop again and again because it's so rich in detail and comprehension. And this is how I feel about this workshop that came to me in a dream from Venus. So anyway, enough of that because we're more than halfway through the current Venus retrograde. But it kind of is relevant because the new Venus star point is on the 22nd, right after this Aries ingress. So everything is everything is kind of piling up together at this moment that I've talked about for so long, right? I've talked about it over and over. But first of all, I want to look back and then I'm going to look ahead. But I want to talk to you about world points as well, first of all. So 0 degrees of the cardinal signs, which are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, are called world points. There are other world points too, but I'm not going to go over those. But the 0 Aries degree, with it being the first sign of the zodiac, to most astrologers and to me, is the most important point. It's often called the point of creation, and I agree with that completely, especially because I have my South Node there, so I'm very connected to it. But anyway, so planets, we're going to look at a couple of things about this, but today the sun has moved to 0 Aries. It's Aries season, so we get that every year, but happy birthday, Aries. But this is no ordinary Aries season. So we'll look at the current ingress and the Aries ingress chart, or the solstice chart, which gives a little bit of a clue for the months ahead. But also I want to look back a little bit as well. So I have been tracking the cycles of Venus. I do the Venus retrograde class, of course, and Ceres and Pluto. I see the three planets working very much together about with our needs, both earthly and soul needs, and our desires, and how we nurture and love each other and ourselves. Okay, now the three, Venus, Ceres, and Pluto, were at 0 Aquarius on December the 7th last year, December the 7th, 2024. And I had been eyeing that conjunction for a long time. But then I got really curious and I wondered when the three last met at 0 degree of any sign. So I'm going to show you. And I'm talking some big cycles here. So Now, Ceres, Venus has about a year orbit, just under. It depends on whether she has a retrograde in the year or not. Pluto has a 248-year orbit. Ceres has a 4.6-year orbit. But the three will last together at the 0 degree point, and in fact they actually don't meet at the same degree all that often, to be quite honest. I had to go through some major searching to find this point. But okay, so Pluto no, Ceres. Uranus was the first planet discovered that broke the boundaries of the visible or the known universe from this culture's perspective. And I say this culture because I believe many ancient cultures knew of some other planetary beings. And in fact, there's even theories that, Earth, the moon, and Ceres actually came from further out in the universe when many thousands of years ago, the universe went through a big cataclysmic event or big shift, and the planets settled around in this solar system, because our solar system and the galaxies and the cosmos are always shifting and changing in some way, right? So I'm not going to go into that now, though. I've got to research it a little bit because I've only recently come across that kind of theory. And so I don't want to share stuff that I know nothing about. But in 1781, Uranus was discovered. So Uranus is here at this point. Okay. And then on January the 1st, 1801, Ceres was discovered. And at first she was called a planet. Then she was, they kept shifting the definitions, the astronomers. And then Vesta was discovered. And then, there were all the asteroids discovered slowly in the asteroid belt. But Ceres was the first one in that region of the sky to be discovered. Now, Ceres is actually just inside the asteroid belt. And I'm writing a book on Ceres, and I'm considering, I'm thinking that she is actually more planet-like than anything. Well, she is. She contains a lot of water. She contains these mysterious lights that NASA's Dawn probe saw when it went up there and sent photographs back. You can find them on the NASA site. And of course, Ceres was reclassified as a dwarf planet when Pluto was also reclassified as a dwarf planet. I don't think it really matters what the classification is. But anyway, so those two were the first discoveries before all the other planets. And Pluto was not actually discovered by us until 1930. But in 1823, look at this, Ceres and Pluto, the two dwarf planets, met at 0 degrees and 1 minute of Aries, which is where we're at today, on this world point, the point of creation. And Venus was there as well. And Venus is about right now to have her Venus star point at 2 degrees of Aries. That's a long story. But so I looked back and I was like, this really kind of feels like this could have been when this big shift that we are really in really began. It seeded that moment in Aries at the point of creation. This shift really started to change then. One other funny thing about this chart, well, or not so funny, whichever, I don't know, is, well, there's a couple of things, is that the nodes are at 6 degrees Aquarius Leo. This is the south node of the USA, and this is the north node of the USA in the 1776 chart. Square to Saturn, the patriarchy, if you like, in many ways, or the wise elder. Just saying. So things are coming round to roost. 6 degrees Leo, the north node of the USA, but the south node of this chart, when those three last met was the point where Mars went retrograde last year and is heading back towards currently. So there's a lot of degrees being activated. 6 is also the number of the Great Mother, which is Ceres. Okay, Ceres or Demeter, excuse me. A couple of other things that just leap out at me because I set this chart for the exact conjunction of those is that the moon, the people, was at 12 Sagittarius, which is the rising sign in the USA's Sibley chart for July the 4th, 1776. Not all astrologers like that chart, but it does have resonance because a lot of transits activate things in that chart. And then Black Moon Lilith is on the galactic center as well, which is really activated right now. So it's almost like something wild or something elemental was seeded back then. And it's taken this long to really kind of reach this last chrysalis stage or pushing in this shift of human consciousness. A lot of it is based in the USA because it's, you know, the new world. It was formed with all these kind of stories of manifest destiny and so on. And you know, people came here with hope for a new life, but of course we know how, you know, the Native Americans were treated badly, and so many died or were treated like on the Trail of Tears. So many died from diseases and stuff. And then the Constitution was formed, and which is based on the Iroquois Constitution, but it really only applied to white men who are trying now to hold onto that with their fingernails. So these things are really kind of up again. All these things that were seeded back in those early days of the United States. Okay, so I don't need to go into all the things. Okay, right. So there's a star I want to look at as well. What was her name? If I'm not meant to see it, I'm not meant to. Oh, no, I know what it is. It's Altair. I'm going to add Altair into. So fixed star Altair. Okay, let's add her. Back then, as well as all of this point of creation was seeded, and this in a way is maiden mother crone or maiden mother grandmother. Okay, Pluto often represents the grandmother in many charts. I don't necessarily see Pluto as masculine as many astrologers do, but okay. So Altair, the fixed star, who is actually kind of a star for ideals, okay, and ideals and vision, back then was at 29 degrees Capricorn. And we have just entered this period where Pluto left that degree. And now I want to bring you back. And now then I will go to, I promise, I will go to the ingress of the sun into Aries for this equinox. Back in last December, Pluto and Ceres met, and Venus the day before on the 7th was also at 0 Aquarius. So that was the last day. The 2 or 3, sorry, were all at another 0 degree mark. I've not found any other time. Now, if you search through my videos, there's a video called Fools and Lovers. You just have to search Cosmic Owl Astrology, Fools and Lovers. I did a video with a client and friend, and we called it Fools and Lovers because we were talking about 6 Aquarius and 0 Aquarius, the Fool card in the tarot and the Lovers card. But this 0 degree Aquarius has also been a hot degree. So the 3 met again. But also you can see that Altair has moved into Aquarius from Capricorn. And Capricorn has been associated in many ways with the institutions we've been living under for so long, really, and for much longer than the USA's been in existence, but also it's kind of brought it to the head. We all know that Pluto going through the sign of Capricorn has been starting to take down and the shadows of the institutions that are not working globally, all kinds of things like that. And Pluto is now in Aquarius. Okay, so, but Altair had moved from the end of Capricorn back then to Aquarius. Now, of course, fixed stars do not move, they are fixed. But from our perspective, they shift a degree every 72 years because the whole cosmos is moving. Okay. Now, other things back then, the nodes were still in Libra and Aries at the end of last year. About to come back to that 2-degree mark where Venus and the Sun are meeting on the 22nd, just a couple of days away. And Neptune was where the North Node is now. And that's exactly square the galactic center, which I just mentioned, where Black Moon Lilith was back in 1823. So, you might be going, oh my God. But basically what I'm saying is that this point of creation of what we are creating now, where we're really at this peak moment of consciousness raising, because there's so many other things happening as well, like Uranus is going to change signs. Neptune is about to move into Aries too. Then Saturn will also move into Aries, and we'll look a little bit ahead at that one too. And but this world point, this 0 Aries that I started with in 1823, is being activated over and over again. But as we move into an Aquarian or air era, and signs and ages are not the same. So I'm talking about moving into like the age of air, the age of invention, the age of new ideas, a renaissance, if you like, because we had a Saturn Pluto conjunction at 0 Aries. All right. So in fact, I should probably quickly show you that too. I better make sure I'm keeping an eye on the time because I'm going to have my taxes done. Okay, so the Saturn-Pluto conjunction was, oh no, that was a, it was, sorry, Jupiter. Silly me. Oh. Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, which is called the Great Conjunction, but this was the two meet every 20 years, but then they shift elements every 200 years. This was the first moment that the two will be meeting in air signs for the next 200 years. They actually gave a taster in 1980 during Reagan's time. And I think a lot of people are realizing that the kind of shift we're in now began in Reagan's time. But we still have free will as how we build this and create this. So don't go, oh my God, we're doomed, because we are in a rebirth stage right now. So that was one of the moments where Jupiter and Saturn, or where this 0 degree Aquarius was a hot degree, and that was December the 21st, solstice, another kind of turning of the seasons, 2020. And here we're at the equinox. You cannot make this up. Okay. All right, back to today. So let's get the sun going into Aries. So you can see Altair is still at, that was in 2021. Let's go to 2025, because of course it goes in every year. Okay, here's today, 5:01 a.m. Eastern. The sun entered Aries. This is the ingress chart as they call it. Now, it's set for the USA, but it's going to apply for everywhere. So I will only mention a couple of things. So I mentioned that the North Node is at 27 Pisces, which was where Neptune was when, that last conjunction happened between between Venus, Ceres, and Aries and Pluto at 0 Aquarius. And now the North Node is at 27 Pisces. Neptune is moved to 29 degrees and is about to move into Aries. But all of this is square that galactic center where Black Moon Lilith was back then. So since that time, really, women, marginalized people, Black Moon Lilith in many ways is our wild elemental self. But it's also got that element of marginalization, being the outsider, being outcast. And marginalized people have been fighting for their place, their rightful side by side place with basically white males since then. Since the founding of the USA. That includes Native Americans, it includes Black people brought here as slaves and people who moved here and their ancestors, and women, many women. And over again, people have been fighting for civil rights and things like that. And then we've had what's called the resistance. It's applied everywhere, though. By the way, I will not use the word resistance because I kind of feel like it may have helped to bring us to where we're at now. Because the more we resist the energy of autocracy and so on, eventually it comes back and goes, hey, no, we're hanging on to this, we're coming back again. How about we not resist? How about we root, rise, create, which is the words I've come up with for this time. Anyway, so just looking at this ingress chart, Altair, ideals, remember fixed stars, is now in Aquarius, which is much more egalitarian in nature if you're looking at the ideals of Aquarius. Whereas Capricorn, where it was back then, not so much. Capricorn was about strict rules, hierarchical rules. Capricorn is very kind of hierarchical in many ways. Aquarius is not. Now, yes, Aquarius has its autocratic side, but we're talking about a fixed star, ideals. And remember, people were of their time. So the founding fathers did have the ideals of this Iroquois constitution, which was wonderful about everybody created equal and things. But the founding fathers could only see it from the perspective of the time they were in. But now we're in a different time, all right? And Pluto is bringing transformation. This is why I think the constitution will be transformed. I've mentioned it before, but I actually, a daughter of a friend of mine just turned 21. I met her the other week, and she's at college, and she says, I'm studying law because I want to be able to rewrite the Constitution so doesn't just work for just white men. I was like, wow. Anyway, so this is Altair, if you like, because the ideals of the Constitution, it doesn't need to be completely changed. It just did not speak for everybody, and it did not include everybody. For heaven's sake, we didn't even get the ERA, right? So, things like that. Okay, so this Aries ingress has Pluto and Altair conjunct. It has the nodes and Neptune square to the galactic center, bringing in this new consciousness, new knowledge. All right. We have Saturn at 23 Pisces, and Saturn is, kind of in the boundaries are being dissolved in Pisces. This is kind of the cocoon or the chrysalis energy, this Piscean energy. Ceres, remember, she was involved in all of this, is grief, but also our needs. And in Pisces is saying we need to apply, we need to, come into this interconnectedness so that we are meeting everybody's needs. Okay. And then it's all going to move into Aries. And this is the start because this is the world point. This is going to start unfolding this year. in bigger ways than just the sun usually going into Aries. And why? Well, we've got the two Mercury, the two most personal planets apart from the sun and moon, Mercury and Venus, both retrograde, going from Aries back into Pisces to be reborn. Okay, so that's heart and minds. We've also got Ceres coming up towards them. So let's move it forward a little bit. Just I must not get too carried away here because taxes. But Sun will conjunct Venus March the 22nd. You see over here, and that's 2 is the number of the divine feminine. But you know, if you remember, that 2 was also there. But look, it's aspecting Pluto and Altair on this new beginning. Venus is relationships, creativity, all of this new identity, you could say. Then we get March 24th. We get Mercury and the Sun conjunct, and Venus is at 1 degree Aries then, and going almost ready to move back into Pisces. But look at this, by this point, the moon, the people in mundane astrology, is with Altair and with Pluto. The people are fast realizing that we want a fairer society. When people are having their stuff, or at least the threat of their things being taken away. Because right now, most things that our current president and Musk are trying to do are being blocked. Okay, so this is a massive conjunction. It's aspecting these two conjunctions, Mercury and Venus. Okay, and then Venus and Mercury are both going to go back into Pisces and will move back into Aries to be reborn. But then, talking of the world point, this is honestly nuts energy. The point of creation, March the 30th, the day after the eclipse that's at 9 degrees of Aries, we have Neptune moving into Aries for the first time. And you can see Mercury and Venus back here. But long story short, because I could look at every aspect, but I just want you to get the idea that this is not like any other ingress point. Okay, because then Saturn will also move into Aries May the 24th. Okay, so here we have Saturn here. Neptune's only at 1. The North Node has moved back. Venus is out of her shadow. Mercury is well moved on. We've got hardly anything left in Pisces. Ceres, by that point, is at 2 degrees, 37 minutes of Aries, which is 2 minutes from the new Venus star point on March the 22nd. I've never seen anything like it. Chiron and Eris are conjunct at that moment when Saturn moves into Aries. That's healing and shaking it up. Eris is very much associated with rights as well, rights for marginalized people. Okay, this is just huge, all of it. Pluto has gone retrograde, moving back towards Altair. But then fast forward, Saturn and Neptune will both retrograde back into Pisces to finish their journey and kind of mop up and finish the dissolution or the letting go or the stepping into this higher consciousness as well. And then February the 20th, 2026, this is where I'm going to finish. I'm going to pull a card though for this ingress. The two meet at 0 Aries. So 1823 till 2026, now we have boundlessness and boundaries at 0 Aries at the same point that Venus, Pluto and Ceres met back in 1823. I really feel like this is us moving into the new age. Now, at that point, the nodes moving out of Pisces going to be back here. Mars is conjunct Chiron's wife, Chariklo, in the sign of equality and egalitarianism and humanitarianism and people. Pluto is heading towards the south node of the USA. So it's going to still be a process of unfolding and recreation. This is not going to happen overnight. But look at this. Uranus and Black Moon Lilith at 27 degrees, which is that hot degree right now, with the galactic center is squared by the nodes right now. All of this is just crazy. And then Uranus will move into Gemini. That's way far ahead. But these degrees are important. And this point of creation, world point, is especially important. But the 0 Aquarius degree as well is important. Fire and air, we're moving into recreating this new energy for the future. So again, I'm hopeful for the future. Of course, we still have free will. Are we going to lean in, and are we going to co-create our future? Are we going to think differently? I still think that clean energy is coming, and all this shift will shake out what needed to be shaken out, even though it seems a bit scary at the moment, and something really wonderful is going to come from it. Okay, so I'm going to pull a couple of cards for I'm sorry, I should not laugh, but okay. So, because you cannot make this up. But anyway, I will show you the cards in a minute. This is the wonderful deck that I got for the Venus retrograde. I also think, the divine feminine is coming up, as of course, because that's the Venus Ceres Pluto kind of energy. So what page is that? Okay, so the first card I pulled for where we're at right now, we're in the fall. Can you see it? Oh, that's the trouble with putting these backgrounds in. Oh, there it is, right in front of me. This is the Icarus card in this. Remember, Icarus flew too close to the sun. After Daedalus, his father, made those wings so they could escape from King Minos, Ariadne's father. But this is a wake-up call. We are forced to acknowledge a powerful resistance to change. Turning away from what needed to be acknowledged has now used force to make itself known. Wow. This energy may be shocking as it shakes you up so that you can finally see the truth of what's going on. Are we not starting to see it? Look at all those town halls, and everywhere. Look at everywhere. We're realizing that this small group, in real terms, of oligarchs and very wealthy billionaires are trying to take over the world, right? Okay. Anyway, so this is kind of saying, the fall makes us aware of what we need to release and discard. We may have fallen from dizzy heights, but in time you will stand again on solid, fertile ground, ready to build a new way forward. Know that you will survive this. This is a revelation illuminated by a dynamic eruption that was not what you might have expected. Oh God, how true could this be? This is a breakthrough, an awakening, a shake-up, a transformation. Stay positive. So, don't say, well, I hope somebody else wakes up first. We're all waking up to what was going on. We've sleepwalked into this in many ways, right? We got very comfortable with all the stuff that was going on. So this is the Witch of Threads. This is fire. Fire. Aries is fire. And this is Circe, the alchemist, the sorceress. And this is your thread of magic. Okay. This is Medea. These were the followers of Dionysus. And this says, at the ends of the universe is a blood red cord that ties life to death. So this is saying the witch's energy is brave, clever, and feisty. Often she is heard before she is seen, and some may find her strange, but she holds a powerful agency and truly knows herself. And this is what we're all being stepped into. This energy can appear forceful at times, and you may worry about becoming singed if you go too far. However, her energy never holds grudges, for she has a huge, loving, burning heart that quickly sweeps away any negativity. This kind of goes to my feeling that we're all being asked to kind of step up into who we truly are and being more courageous and taking a stand and so on, which is a bit scary for some people. They feel they're going to get singed, but also about the not holding grudges when other people wake up to the fact that they had supported what's going on out there, and now they realize what's really going on. Anyway, finally, this ingress is just wild, to be honest. And yes, I know we have it every year, but I really think that it's the beginning of something amazing. Okay. And it's something that was seeded 1823. I've always thought it took us a long time to shift into the new paradigm. Four of discs. I am value. This is a force our stability. All right. This is stepping into our deepest values, I'm going to say. This is earth. So this is kind of going, what do you really value? Who do you really value? What do you want to create? You know, discs are the earth sign, and that is material wealth, but it's also our senses and this connection with the earth that we are in. But the card message is also know that you are wanted, valued, and respected. Wealth is beyond money. You are rich with kindness and gifts. There we go. Happy equinox, but not any such equinox. If you think we're at this half equal day, equal night, now the seasons turn, the wheel turns every year, but boy, is this a big turning of the sacred hoop or the wheel, and an opportunity to recreate how we live together and on this and with and on this earth. Love you.